Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Today we have a card which I'm going to be using these. This is the Nina Creative Collection 72 pieces of coloured cardstock, and just whatever cardstock you have on hand would be fine. And today I'm going to use these 6 pieces of kind of warm colours. They're yellows, oranges, pinks and kind of reds. And I'm also going to use this sort of post stamp die set. So it has 5 stamps to it in a rectangle kind of shape, and the largest one you'll see soon is a bit smaller than an A2. I'll hold it up against the yellow piece soon. But I have just turned them all over and lined them up as evenly as I can, and I've put some tape on the back of them to hold them all together. And so here's the A2 piece of card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, and I am just going to run it through with a little bit of tape on every single one of these 6 pieces of coloured cardstock. So I am centering it on the piece of cardstock because I will be using that outside piece as well. Jennifer Maguire did a video kind of like this a little while ago, so I thought that I would give it a go using the resources that I have. So these dies are from Aliexpress, and I will link those below if you're interested in taking a look. And this is just some plain computer paper, copy paper, and I just want to make sure that it's smaller than an A2 piece of paper because we don't want to see it in the end. And I'm just going to use some score tape, some adhesive. You could just lay down lots of rolls of adhesive if that's what you have, but this is just a nice sheet of adhesive so it covers the whole piece of copy paper that I cut out earlier. So from here I am just going to be layering up all of these little rectangles. So I've used the darkest red for the very outside, and then I am just going to be, as I said, layering them up. So then the next one comes, which is actually kind of like a lighter red colour, and they all just sort of fit into place. It's almost like, you know, inlaying, inlay die cut sort of style, but you're just laying it in and they all fit nicely in order. So I did think that you could create this card using blues or any other color scheme that you need to use for it, and so this was actually just the colors that I felt like using today, so no real rhyme or reason. And then finishing off with yellows, a darker yellow and then a lighter yellow in the middle. So that is the first card front, and then I'm going to make a second one today, and I'm actually going to create 2 cards out of these. So I am just going to do the exact reverse of this one. So for the previous one I had the lightest yellow was in the middle, and then for this one I'm going to have the lightest yellow will be on the outside, so just doing exactly the reverse order. And if you can hear some little squeaks in the background, that is because I have my newborn. I'm snuggling my newborn at the same time as doing the voiceover to this video, so that's what any background noise is. And but he is going really well, and thank you so much everybody for all of your kind comments. I have so much fun reading all the comments, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to leave to write comments and things. I love reading them, and yeah, you guys are always so kind on all of my videos, even my watercoloring video, the last one before this, which I am not good at, but anyway, thank you for all the kind comments. So I've just taken my paper trimmer and with this card front, and I've just put it in 2 diagonally, and I'm using a little bit of tape on the back just to hold it together, and now I'm going in the other direction, so kind of an X cross cut across the front of the card. And sorry I lost a little bit of footage here. I've used this Happy Birthday die, which I've shown in many videos before, and again this is an AliExpress die, and I will link it below just in case you're interested. And I stacked 4 of them up in black using black cardstock, and then I had the black cardstock lying there, and I thought it kind of made the colors really pop for these bright colors. So I actually took all those 4 pieces and cut them in half again, and so there are now 8 pieces to my little card front, and I am just gluing them all down to this black piece of cardstock, which coincidentally was a spare piece. I think it measures around similar to a card front. I end up cutting it down a little bit anyway. And I'm just leaving a really small little gap in between each of the panels so that you can see that black cardstock coming through. And then this card is super simple, and it didn't take too much time. Actually, this whole process didn't take too much time altogether, and I really enjoy doing it. And that's the main thing about card making for me, is that I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So I'm just using some liquid glue that is matte medium, using the bottle is from Aliexpress, and the matte medium is the Ranger brand, is the one that I use. And so I am just cutting it down, as I said, and then I've left about, I don't even know that I measured, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so border around the outside of the black mat as well. And then I use some liquid glue, but I often like to use double-sided adhesive for the backs of these cards, just so that I know they won't warp when the glue dries. So it's winter here in New Zealand, and it is really cold, really, really cold. And so my cardstock does tend to warp a little bit when I'm leaving it to dry. So that's why I remembered halfway and stopped using the liquid adhesive. So now I'm just using that liquid adhesive to adhere down the little happy birthday on the front of my card, and that's exactly how I'm going to leave it for today. I really like this one. Plain and simple, but catches the eye. So here's my second card, and this one is going to be super simple. I am just going to cut it diagonally, one cut, and that's it. And then I will use the rest of this for something else, the rest of this card. And as you can see, I still have so much cardstock to the top of my screen, so technically I could make 6 card fronts out of this. So it is really good at using up all your scraps and bits and pieces, and I had heaps of fun, and I have actually put these away in a little bag so that I can come back to it later and keep creating these card fronts with all the pieces there. So I now have this stamp set here, and I really like the Hope Your Birthday is as Special as You Are sentiment. And so, as I said, this little card is plain and simple. So I've just put some double-sided adhesive on the back of this panel, and I'm just going to offset it a little bit, bring it in so it's got a tiny wee border. And then I actually had a strip of scrap gold, glitter gold cardstock on my desk, and I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. So just thought it sort of breaks up and finishes off the card a little bit, but I wanted a nice skinny little strip, so I am just taking my paper trimmer and getting a really nice thin strip. I don't know that I measured, I just wanted it to be nice and thin to go along the edge between the white cardstock and the coloured panel. So I'm just using a little bit of liquid glue, and then that will sit flush up against the coloured panel. And then with the stamp set, so this one is also from Aliexpress, and I will link it below in case you're interested again. And I'm just cutting off the extra little bits of that gold cardstock, but I knew that I just wanted to put a really simple sentiment down in that sort of bottom right hand corner. And to do that, I'm going to use this Cheese Puff Ranger die ink pad, and I have about maybe 10 or 12 of these ink pads. They don't have a whole lot of colours. I think I have nearly most of them, but I do really like them, I must say. I do come back to them often. And I have just stamped that little sentiment, plain and simple, in this Cheese Puff, which is an orange sort of colour, and it matches really nicely with the orange that I have used in my card. Hence why I used it instead of the plain black that I usually use. So that's my 2 cards for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.